My husband and I had a very interesting conversation this morning before he left for work. He was bringing up the stories in the Bible and how he felt that a lot of it was BS. Just I'm going to put it simply. We got into a lot more of a detailed discussion, but I'm not going to bore you with the details. Um, and he said that, a lot of it is just, compilation of other people's interpretations and, you know, stuff like that. And I know he's processing a lot of frustration at people right now, especially people that have abused their power in our world. And I had to come back to him and say, okay, don't let people's bullshit, even my own bullshit. I'm like, I'm not without my own bullshit. I'm not perfect. Um, I was like, don't let any stressors or anyone's BS disconnect you from the magic and the spirit in things too. I'm like, life is not just logical. It's intuitive and it's spiritual and it's emotional, and there is spirit in everything. However, I do believe that many of these stories in the Bible have been obviously taken out or altered. But even the ones that are left, they are based on channelings from individuals, some who had a very unclear, fearful lens. Okay. I still believe that these books were based on human beings' engagement with the divine. However, if their lens was not clear, if they weren't of the mind that this is not just about them and what they think, and that this is about their connection with God and receiving what is needed, not wanted, then those messages can come through very skewed and tainted. If their filter is not clear, the water is going to be filthy, right? So my husband was using the example about, look at all these generations of people just taking people's land and taking people's stuff and, just taking. And he said it's even in the Bible, like these people were very self-righteous that they said this is our land. God said this is ours. And I said, but what if God meant ours as in all of ours? And the people hearing his message skewed it because they were selfish, fearful, controlling, greedy, unhealed, imbalanced, you know? And how many times have has that even happened to us? We think we're getting a download, and we are getting a download. I feel like we're getting messages all the time, but depending on where our head and our heart and our soul is, that message can come through loud and clear, or that message can come through muddied and influenced by our own thoughts and beliefs and projections and expectations and things like that. For example, like when I'm doing a reading, I'll either say in my head or aloud, depending on the situation or, just depending on what I'm feeling. But either way, I always say the same prayer, and it's, I ask to receive the whole truth, the holy truth, and nothing but the truth. May nothing interfere in this reading, not even my own stuff, so that I may receive and relay the truth that this person needs to hear today. Because I know I'm not perfect. I know that I, even right now, am going through my own healing in various areas. I know that there may be days I'm having a bad day. That doesn't mean I can just not help my clients, like unless I'm sick or something. But you know what I mean? Like if I am just having one of those days, I'm not just going to cut off somebody who needs help because of my own stuff. I'm going to process it. And then when it's time for their session, I am going to get back to it afterwards. And I'm not going to allow my own stuff to filter through their reading, because then that message gets muddied. The water becomes unclear. Does that make sense? So it's important to keep your filters clear. Be aware of what you're thinking. Be aware of what you're feeling. Be aware of what's going on in your body. Be aware of your truth. Even if it's not easy. Even if you're mad, you're frustrated, you feel alone, you feel sad, you're just reprocessing a trauma again. Um, you feel guilty, you feel jealous, you feel envious, whatever. Like, just make sure you're being honest with yourself, because those emotions, although negative, still have a positive medicine in them when we can be honest about them and then transmute them. Okay. So, yeah, this is not about just being pure, and like keeping your filters clear is not about being pure and perfect. It's just being aware of what's clogged up and then moving that, addressing it so that it doesn't influence and muddy and taint everything else you're involved in, everyone else you're engaged with. Okay. This goes for you too if you're a reader, if you're a Reiki healer, okay, if you're a therapist, if you're somebody who is in support of another person, make sure you are supporting yourself so that your messages don't come through the skewed lens of your own perception, your own projections, your own traumas, your own limiting beliefs. Okay. An exercise I would highly recommend for you is just do a brain dump. This is a journaling exercise, or you can do it as an audio journal where, you record on a recording device on your phone, um, where you just let everything out. This could be in the morning or evening, whichever you prefer. And you just get everything out of your head and your heart and your soul onto paper, or, like I said, into a recording. And there are no requirements after. It's not like the audio journaling exercise where I advise you to re-listen to your recording or go back to it, or no, just let it out. Let it out and allow yourself to be done with it. Allow yourself to be free of it. Allow yourself to be declogged. Take some deep breaths afterwards. And then refill your mind, your heart, your soul with something that really fuels it, that really fuels you. Okay? This helps keep you clear, but also keep you nourished so that everything is functioning naturally, including your intuition. So I hope this found and fed you today in the way it was meant to. I hope it made sense. I hope it helps those of you who do this kind of work. And if you have any questions, comments, feedback, anything at all, please comment below. Love y'all.